Okay. All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Cindy. I'm the Assistant Director for Camp Wabi.
I'm Anna. I'm the Volunteer Coordinator and Program Director at Respite.
And I'm Dan Fornes. I'm the Director at Easter Seals Respite Camp.
And we're going to be showing you guys some of the basic transfers that we will be working on during STEP training and using throughout the summer to help our campers transfer to different seating arrangements during camp. All right, so before we get started, Dan and Anna are going to demonstrate all of our transfers for you today, but we are going to go over some basic just wheelchair etiquette. So you're going to always want to make sure that when you're using a manual chair that your brakes are locked. So they're usually located on the wheels, and just making sure that we're putting them in the lock position. Or if we're transferring from a power chair, that all the power is turned off before we start the transfer at all. You're also going to want to make sure that anything that is holding your camper in their chair, whether it's a chest harness, seat belt, or foot straps, is taken off. I usually start at the bottom with foot straps. It's a lot easier for campers to continue to support themselves if you take the chest harness off last. So just making sure that you go through each of those steps, and then also look for things that are attached to your camper that need to move with them, such as G-tubes, which is maybe a feeding tube that stays attached for continuous feeding, or a calf bag, and a lot of times those are hanging on the back of the chair or down on the side, so making sure that they're taken off and ready to move with your camper. It's very important that we communicate the whole time during transfers, so you'll often hear Anna and Dan continue to reintroduce themselves, and Anna letting Dan know exactly what's going to happen, just so that your camper is aware. We're going to start with the easiest transfer, which is the stand pivot transfer. So it's used for someone who can bear their weight, or you can lift high enough that their feet are not going to drag on the ground. So Dan is going to get transferred, and Anna will be transferring him.
All right, hi Dan, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing great.
Great. Is it okay if I transfer you from this chair to that chair?
Absolutely.
Awesome.
So what Anna's going to do is she's going to walk towards Dan and make sure that his feet are together and his knees are touching, making sure that her feet go on the outside of his feet, and then she's going to be able to ask Dan to give her a big bear hug. She puts her arms right around Dan's back, and the camper's arms go over her shoulders.
Give you a bear hug, Dan?
Absolutely.
She is going behind his back with a big forearm grab, making sure that she's reaching up as far as she can on her arms and not interlocking her fingers or cupping her hands. She's going to look with her knees with a 3 count when they're both ready.
Dan, would you like to count or like me to count?
No, you got it, Anna.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, up.
And then they just side shuffle right on over to the next location, taking nice small steps, and then sitting down.
All right, comfortable?
Thank you.
Awesome.
Awesome. And that's our one-person transfer. Again, it's our easiest transfer at camp. It's nice to note that the chairs are sort of at an angle, so she can just stand straight up and shuffle into the next spot. Hi everyone, we are going to show you our 2-person transfer, which is used for someone who cannot bear their own weight or we're not able to lift them high enough off the ground during that 1-person transfer. So Anna and I will be transferring Dan today, being sure that first we introduce ourselves. Hi Dan, I'm
Hi,
Cindy.
Cindy.
We'll be transferring today.
Hey Dan, I'm Anna. I'm going to help out Cindy.
Hey.
Awesome. So it's similar to the 1-person in that we're going to make sure that our camper's feet are together and that our legs are on the outside of theirs. I'm going to go ahead and lean our camper Dan forward so Anna can put her hands right under his, grabbing opposite wrist with opposite arm, creating a nice little X so when she pulls up it's going to be nice and tight. If her arms weren't crossed, his arms would just come apart. It wouldn't be a nice and close transfer. So making sure that you grab opposite wrist is very important. I'm going to check with Anna to make sure that it's okay before I let go of his shoulders. Is it okay if I let go? Awesome. And then I'm going to go underneath Dan's legs with the same forearm grab, making sure it's up nice and high so I can lift up and help with the transfer. All right. And then you're going to want to let your camper know that you're ready. Would you like to count or would you like us to count?
You can count.
All right. You ready, Anna?
Yep.
1, 2, 3. All right. How do you feel, Dan?
I feel good. Could you scoot me back, though?
Of course we could. So if your camper needs to be scooted back, you're going to want to go underneath their arms and just give them a nice boost back on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. There you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Are you ready?
Okay, so our third transfer is a 3-person transfer. There are 2 people on top and 1 person on the bottom. The person who is underneath the legs is doing the same forearm grab as the two-person transfer, and then the two people on top will have their arms right underneath their arms, grabbing their bicep and reaching across to the wrist, same as when we scooted Dan back in his chair. During training, we'll be able to show you this transfer with a larger group of people, but it's also important to remember to not do the three-person unless you're feeling very comfortable or with someone who's done it before.